Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network, along with Donald Eng. I'm Rob Adams. Happy to have you along as we chat about the goings-on around Connecticut in the world of sports and a couple of things outside of the Fairfield County region, outside of sort of our comfort zone, Don, that we'll jump into. But first up, we will get things going with some girls soccer talk. But before that, Donald, how are you?
I'm doing very well. You crossed me up there with the first but before. That was
I did.
A bit disconcerting there. But,
I did. I started with a curveball instead of going with the fastball to start things off. It's my bad.
That's
Sorry.
it. Yeah. If only if only some of the Met pitchers had figured that out. Like, no, you don't need a first pitch fastball every time.
By the way, and this is we'll be very quick on this from really outside of our comfort zone. Some news breaking across the world that looks like Big Papi's going to step down after 2016.
Really?
That just coming across the wire a little while ago. So David Ortiz looks like he will walk away from the Red Sox. And look, I mean, he's about 1,000 years old at this point anyway. But in all honesty, he you could see the bat was slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it has been, and I mean, you can't complain. He's had a great run, a late career resurgence that you really don't see very often. So, well, that's going to be interesting to see how they replace him.
Yeah, so many folks forget that he started as a Twin and really could have been a Yankee at one point as well. But he made his bones, of course, as a Red Sox, and we'll see if Cooperstown comes calling. I have a feeling they will, but there will be some outrage over that, including in this room. That's for a totally different time. Let's jump into girls soccer. New Canaan has seen their season come to an end at the hands of the Ridgefield Tigers last night. Dave Stewart reporting the final score was 3-1 in the semifinals, played over at Ludlow's Taft Field. So congratulations, of course, to the Rams for this nice run that they had, but they came up against a really good team in the FCAC champions, the Ridgefield Tigers.
It really was a great run. New Canaan, the 23 seed, knocked off 3 higher seeds. That would be number 10 Amity, number 7 Middletown, and number 15 Wilton on their way to the semis before running into the Tigers, where they dropped a 3-1 decision last night. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a great season, a great playoff run comes to an end, and now for Ridgefield, it's on to the finals where they will take on top-seeded defending champion 19-0 Glastonbury. So definitely a very tall mountain for the Tigers to climb.
Alexandra Dameron scored 3 times for the Tigers, so the hat trick there, including twice in the final 13 minutes, and that was all that was needed to be said about that game. So congratulations, of course, to the Tigers. As Don said, they move on. They get the top seed, Glastonbury. And a fun fact that we learned right before the broadcast. The last time, from what I'm told, the last time that the Tigers played for the state championship was 1992. Now, that's the fun fact in and of itself. Oh, but wait, there's more.
More.
That actually aired on TV, on video. The play-by-play announcer is in this building, and no, it is not this guy. Josh Fisher was the play-by-play announcer in that 1-0 loss on an own goal, he was telling us. Great stuff.
Goal. It was a student television broadcast, and yeah, look at that.
So pretty cool little factoid that he brought up for us. And Josh handled the play-by-play on one of our soccer broadcasts earlier this very season, as we had a playoff broadcast between Darien and was it Darien Staples? Yes, it was Darien Staples. So great job by Josh, and a great little factoid he brought to us as well. So congratulations, and of course moving on, the Tigers. And they can they give Glastonbury a game? I don't know.
You would think they probably could. I mean, New Canaan, the 23 seed, came into the tournament with a record of 8-8 and knocked off some higher seeds. I mean, Glastonbury, as we said, the defending state champ, the number 1 seed, number 1 ranked, 19-0, undefeated. They haven't lost in a couple of years. I mean, it would be an upset, but as we saw over the weekend, sometimes upsets happen.
And it will be an upset if they can even score on Glastonbury, because Glastonbury beat Darien 1-0, beat Greenwich 4-0, beat New Milford 4-0, as they have chopped their way through the 16, the 8, and the 5 seeds to make it to the final. Ridgefield, on the other hand, not like Ridgefield has played badly, but, opening round they had a bye, a 2-1 victory over Ludlow, which was a pretty good game to get it going, then 3-2 against Hall of West Hartford, then, of course, 3-1 last night against New Canaan, now on to the state championships, the 1 and the 6 seed, 19-0 against 14, 2-3. Fingers crossed for a good game.
Yeah, it should be exciting. And also, speaking of going on to the championship, St. Joseph and Pomperog in Class L in the girls, they will play in a semi That game, November 17th at 6:30 at Newtown. St. Joseph, the number 1 seed in Class L with a record of 18-0. The other semi will see number 2 Suffield versus number 6 Berlin. That at Windsor High School. So a couple of our local regional schools still in the mix in the state playoffs.
And the same can be said, well, really not the same can be said for Class M, although not too far out of the region is Bethel. They are the 26th seed, and they will take on Northwest Catholic at Municipal Stadium in Waterbury. That is one game coming up later tonight. The other game at Middletown High School is Enfield, the 12 seed, against number 1 Woodland. The winners moving on there. Woodland won tie on the year. They're lone demerit, but beyond that, they've been pretty solid. The winners meet on November 21st.
Right, and then in Class S, the final is set for November 21st at a site and time to be announced. Number 5, Old Lyme, with a record of 15-2-2, will take on number 18, Notre Dame of Fairfield. They had something of a Cinderella run through the tournament. Notre Dame with a record of 12-7-1. The Lancers have knocked off, hang on one second, they've knocked off St. Bernard, Capital Prep, and Portland and Bolton to get to the finals. So that the Class S final set for the 21st.
Again, this is girls soccer we're talking about. So we have a chance to see 2 FCAC teams bring home championships and 3 Fairfield County teams, although is Bethel County? Yeah, I guess Bethel does count, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so 4 Fairfield County teams, come to think of it. Sorry. There you go. Ridgefield, St. Joseph, Bethel, and Notre Dame of Fairfield each won a chance to bring home a girls soccer championship to Fairfield County. It seems like for Ridgefield, to be honest, the odds are kind of long again. But they find the back of the net. You've got a whole new game, but you've got to get a goal against Glastonbury and kind of build your confidence from there.
Right. Preferably, yeah, you got to get a goal and preferably get one early because because the longer you've got the 0 on the scoreboard and the longer the game goes on, the more you probably feel it starts to feel like it's going to be Glastonbury's day. But that's why they play the games.
Why we
as,
play the
as Chris
games.
Berman says.
They are really a factory of fine athletics at Glastonbury as we turn our attention to field hockey now. And you're into the semifinals there. Games coming up tonight at Wethersfield and Cheshire. At Wethersfield, it'll be top seeded. Glastonbury taking on number 5 Cheshire, kind of a middle of the state matchup. Glastonbury 16-0-1 on the year. Cheshire, the number 5 seed, 13-2-2-1. On the other side of the bracket is Connard at 17-1-0. And here's where it gets local for us, the Wilton Warriors, who knocked off, of course, Darien in overtime. We spoke with Darien's head coach, Mo Minikis, last Saturday. Wilton, the Warriors, at 14-4-0, go into the semifinals against Connard tonight at 5 o'clock at Cheshire High School. With Amanda Hendry, I like your chances because the strength of a postseason, whether it's in ice hockey or, to my mind, field hockey, and maybe even lacrosse as well, the strength of your season can reside in your netminder, whoever it is.
Right, whether it's King Henrik or on down the line.
Bernie Perrant.
If you can keep the other team from scoring, you've got a shot.
Mike Richter, Jerry Cheevers, we could name them all. Patrick Waugh. But yeah, I think that's a big key. And Amanda Hendry, I've really been impressed with her play, and she is one of the nominees for our HAN FCAC Athlete of the Week. So get your vote out on that. Don, let's switch over and take a look at Class M.
Down in Class M, we have Joel Barlow out of Reading taking on Avon in one quarterfinal. That will be at Watertown. Barlow, the top seed, 16-1-1. And then we have the New Canaan Rams out of the FCAC taking on Laurelton Hall out of the Southern Connecticut Conference. The Rams are the 7th seed, 14-3-1. Laurelton, 15-2. They are the 3 seed. The winners of those games will meet November 21st at Wethersfield for the state championship. So again, another one of the interesting matchups. We always like these regional games, especially when it involves the 2 mega conferences, the SCC and the FCAC.
I love that New Canaan Laurelton Hall game. That's going to be a great one, the 7-3 matchup. Of course, Joel Barlow from our region, as well as the top seed. Avon, all due respect to you, but the other 3 teams from our region for sure, from our coverage area. But we do give our respect to Avon. Let's move over
when they come calling. We respect them.
Mad respect. We move over to Class S now and get through the semifinals there. Thomaston, the 1 seed, 16-1 on the year, take on Canton, the 12 seed. They are 10-5-2. While Immaculate, just up the road in Danbury, 15-0-3 on the year. They're the 2 seed, taking on number 3, Haddam Killingworth HK. They are 16-2.
Yeah, so it's a great time. I just also we didn't touch on it, but I was just looking quickly at the at the boys soccer semifinals in Class Double-L. Darien taking on Farmington in one semifinal, and in the other, Hall High School taking on the number 1 seed, 16-2, defending champ Glastonbury. They like sports involving sticks and balls in the fall up in Glastonbury.
And you know what? They also like hockey as well. You might remember from the now infamous Girls Championship game many months ago over at Terry Connor's rink. Glastonbury was part of that kind of trifecta of a co-op team that they had that went to the state final that wound up getting some national attention that they didn't intend to get. But that is all very much in the past. Anything else in boys soccer we should highlight?
Well, just at the semifinals and are set Bethel and Weathersfield in one semi. Daniel Hand against Avon again in the other semi. That's in Class L. In Class M, it will be Lewis Mills, the 1 seed, versus Tolland in one semi, and straight chalk number 2 Nonawag versus number 3 Bacon Academy in the other semi. And finally, in the Class S semis, we have Somers, the 8 seed, taking on Litchfield, and number 2 Coventry versus number 3 East Lyme in the other semi, and their final also November 21st.
All right. Lastly, before we take a break, we will look at volleyball, the girls' volleyball brackets, and see where we are there. And we begin in Class Double L. Fairfield Ludlow, the number 9 seed. They did it again to Darien back on Saturday, 3-2, and they will take on number 4 Cheshire at Foreign High School. 17-4 is Fairfield Ludlow. Cheshire at 18-2. Cheshire's very good. Watch out for the Falcons. And on the other side, again, there are the Greenwich Cardinals, the number 10 seed at 16-4 against number 3 Southington in Class Double L. Don, over to Class L.
Right, we have the top seed Ram 20-0 taking on Farmington 18-2. That in one semi, that will be at the Sports Science Academy. Also, the other semi, number 7 Platt of Meriden versus Bristol Eastern. That also will be the 19th at 5 o'clock. And of course, the quadruple header championship day, the 21st, with those winners will meet at 4 at Berlin High School.
All right, let's move over now to Class M, and you've got Woodland, the top seed, taking on number 4 Waterford, while you've got number 7 Ellington against East Haven, the 6th seed. One match is at Guilford, the other is at Plainville, and lastly, Don, Class S.
Class S, you have the top seed Seymour High School, 21-0, taking on number 4 Lyman Memorial. That game is November 18th at Glastonbury High School. In the other, you have Coventry, the 2 seed, versus Hale Ray. Both those schools with identical 22-1 records, and once again, the winners of those contests will meet at 10 a.m. at Berlin High School on the 21st. So, good. If you're a volleyball fan, that's a great place to be on the 21st.
That is kind of fun, having all those championships in one spot. Just kind of buy your one ticket and you're good to go for the day. All right, we've got more to do here on Nutmeg Sports, including a couple of stories from outside of the area, but still in Connecticut, that are worth talking about. Kind of the seedy side of football, unfortunately, the off-the-field side, perhaps, if you will, as well as talking about the state football poll and some interest down the line with some students. We'll get to all that when we continue right after this. Mario Recupero is doing a fine job running those controls. We'll come right back after this on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Darien Sports Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sports Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
In Pound Ridge since 1993, the Wine Connection is one of America's best wine shops. Visit our beautiful store for the greatest in wine and knowledgeable service. With wonderful values from around the world to collectibles for your cellar, we are your one-stop source. Visit our online shop at wineconn.com and make sure to sign up for email updates. With great offers, new arrivals, and special events, don't miss all the action at The Wine Connection, including tastings every weekend. The Wine Connection, located at 32 Westchester Avenue, Pound Ridge, New York.
This fall for our red panda. That's right, Rashan the red panda will be visiting the Beardsley Zoo for a limited time. Resembling raccoons, red pandas primarily eat bamboo, but will occasionally eat fruits, berries, young leaves, and certain tree bark, like their better-known black and white cousins. As an adult, Rashan is expected to weigh 10 to 12 pounds, and you can see him at the South American Rainforest exhibit, Connecticut's Beardsley Zoo of Bridgeport. A whole new experience. 875 Noble Avenue, Bridgeport. 203-394-6565.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network with Donald Eng. I'm Rob Adams. Story coming out from the Berlin area, specifically reading it from the Hartford Courant. And a good friend of our program, Tom Yance, we've actually put a feeler out to Tom to get him to come on the show to talk about this story. He wrote today's edition of it, while Matthew Kaufman and Tom Yance wrote the edition that ran yesterday. And, well, just reading from what they wrote, Berlin High School football coach John Capotis actively recruited players from neighboring New Britain, allegedly finding housing for one family and promising another a Division I college scholarship if the student switched teams, according to statements made as part of the school's investigation. The Courant went on and investigated things under the Freedom of Information Act, and paraphrasing now, that an investigator spent more than a week tailing one Berlin football player in the morning, watching him as he was driven from his home in New Britain and dropped off day after day at Berlin High School. Doesn't sound good. It
really doesn't sound good, and of course that would be a direct violation of the CIAC's rules regarding recruiting and residency. Berlin, the Courant also reporting that records show that 15 middle and high school boys who left New Britain schools and enrolled in Berlin over the last 5 years, 6 of them have joined the football team. And as they were saying, that's as far as the housing goes, they have statements from some of the students saying that, from some of the student athletes, or some of the middle school principals from New Britain have been saying that students told them that they wouldn't have a problem getting housing, or because that's what the coach wants.
Yep.
So if his allegations are true, I mean, it's just a terrible story, and we'll see. And
I just wanted to note that is head coach John Capotis on the screen that Mario had put up, so I just want to make sure we note the coach, and just a story that doesn't, it happens. It does happen. Sometimes it gets, not swept under the rug, but they're able to hide it. I think it happens more than people realize, but this is not a good story.
Right.
Tom Yance writing today that the CIAC's executive director said that she hopes a decision on the investigation into the alleged recruiting will be made by the time the two teams play, that being New Britain and Berlin, on Friday night.
That'll be some post-game handshake.
Sure will be. Dr. Carissa Niehoff said in an email to the Courant the investigator will complete his report and share it with the two schools and with the CIAC.
Right. And we should note that Capotis has hired an attorney, Viral Keshwala, who said his client has never been involved in recruiting violations. We've always stood by that he's never been involved in any type of recruiting or providing any type of residency. Keshwala said, according to the Courant, my client would never ruin the integrity of the Berlin football program. He went on to say, these are allegations, they're rumors, they're hearsay statements. They're of the he said, she said. It seems like people are feeding off the rumors and painting my client in a bad, negative light. Also said he planned to pursue civil action against those he said have slandered Capotis. So this could get ugly fast.
And Sean Patrick Boley, of course, Game Time CT, will be on with us next week when we do a special edition, a special roundtable that we're going to do at Boyle Stadium in Stamford prior to the FCAC Championship. Excited for that program. Not only will Sean Patrick be on, but Dave Rudin, along with Pete Pagwaga, and I'm trying to think who else has said yes. Scott Erickson will be on, and I believe Paul Silverfarb as well. So among others will be joining us next week. But anyway, Sean Patrick Boley reporting that sources close to New Britain tell us, meaning Sean Patrick Boley, that the CIAC investigator presented a draft of his report to New Britain last night. So as he writes, it's coming.
It is. I mean, I guess we're supposed to have some sort of decision or ruling by Friday. And what's interesting is this could have far-reaching ramifications into the state football playoffs. Currently, Berlin at 7-2 is ranked number 7. The top 8 teams make the playoffs. The number 8 seed right now, as they stand, is St. Joseph. St. Joseph plays Trumbull on Thanksgiving, and East Haven is the 9 seed. So any kind of serious sanction against Berlin could have some significant domino effect on down the line. Right now, St. Joseph 8, East Haven 9, and Stratford High School 10 and Foreign 11, all still mathematically alive, but they're going to need plenty of help. Of course, if Berlin gets excluded from the playoffs, then that bumps everybody up one spot. And also, you have to wonder, what does that do if they are listed with an official 0-10 record? What does that do for the PowerPoints that go up throughout the CIAC playoffs?
The repercussions across for the CIAC will just be a nightmare. And those who, and I often joke about getting out the abacus to figure out exactly what the points are, but someone really is going to have their work cut out for. I'm sure they've got a computer program, at least I hope so, to figure all of that stuff out, because it is going to be messy with repercussions all over.
And of course, you always hate that the good kids on the Berlin football team, the vast majority of whom are completely innocent, it's very possible that they suffer consequences for actions they did not commit. On the other hand, the CIAC simply has to enforce its rules.
Yeah, they generally do, although we, kind of yelled about the soccer situation from yesterday, and that's, for another time. We had a great little chat this morning on Coffee Break, by the way. Go check it out in the archive with Mike Suppy. It was very brief, right after the sports report, but worth checking out what Mike had to say. Mike, a big soccer guy anyway. But, I'm amazed in that normally you get a much quicker reaction from schools and from the CIAC on stories like this for less things. So I'm surprised we haven't seen a more rapid reaction here.
Well, I don't know if they normally make decisions faster, or if it's just that we simply don't know of the allegations until they come down with a decision. In this case, I'm not sure. I mean, it seems like they were saying that they had some preliminary. There'd been rumors for a few months, and they had some preliminary findings in late October. So a couple of weeks. I mean, I'm as vocal a critic of the CIAC as the next guy, as long as the next guy's not Rob. But in this case, they appear to have been moving. I'll say they've moved relatively quickly.
Well, perhaps, but I would say that I'm intrigued that the school hasn't done something.
Right. Well, the school, I guess, no, the school didn't self-report it, but it was New Britain.
Correct. But when these charges, I mean, these are serious charges.
They definitely are.
So anyway, it'll be worth watching. We'll continue to talk about it on tomorrow's show, and certainly, as we get further into the week, Coffee Break and so on, we'll keep you posted. But it's going to be quite a story to keep an eye on, at least going into next week as well. And right off of that goes into the story of Nick D'Angelo and Berlin football and what went on up there. Now that's a story. Coggenshaug, excuse me. The Coggenshaug story, that's been kind of formulating for a couple of, a good week or so now. But now, initially Coggenshaug had to, from the looks of it, give up their season. Now, not so fast. They have found some coaches to step in, and it really took the work of several athletic directors and coaches around the area to volunteer. And let's face it, Don, to be fair, at the end of the day, it's about those guys on the screen. It's about the players. It's about the kids. I understand that there are some things that Coach D'Angelo was not happy with, and he was very firm in his comments to the aforementioned Sean Patrick Boley, this time writing for the Middletown Press, who said that quite clearly the parents want to run the asylum. That's a quote. It's a toxic environment. I have to stand by my guns. Right.
He said it was a toxic environment. He said his position was untenable, and then he said it was a small group of people that ultimately, poisoned the well and made it impossible for him to maintain his position at Coggenshaug High School. So again, they forfeited their their most recent game against Granby because they had no coaching staff. The entire coaching staff quit, which in my mind is a bit telling. Normally you get someone that will agree to stay on and be the interim head coach. The entire staff quit, which forced them to forfeit, and now they've managed to piece together a coaching staff for their final game. So at least the seniors on the team and the others will be able to go out playing that final Thanksgiving game.
The last piece on that one is that in a quote to NBC Connecticut, he said, "I did not leave because I was afraid of the allegations. I left because power was shifted over to the parents. How could I preach accountability to my players to be held accountable for your actions when now the parents just set a precedent? Anything I do or say as a coach, they can question me." He does not appreciate the allegations that have been put up against him.
Right, and I guess it was his method of disciplining a player during a game. Which the parent felt was excessively harsh. Although, based on what we've heard the player did, I tend to think that it was pretty much deserved.
And let's face it, certainly me and to an extent you, we're out and around coaches a lot.
Yes.
I hear a lot. I see a lot, and there are things that I kind of go, ooh, okay, that seems a little harsh, but sometimes you just hear some of the things, and I know athletes. Now, I didn't play athletics in high school per se, unless you want to count bowling, but I know enough athletes from the older school who will say, hey, I remember what Coach so-and-so said to me, and
right, which doesn't make it necessarily right, but honestly, you hear worse things coming out of the student section, and for that matter, the parent section at a lot of games. So.
No, you absolutely do. We have to take one more break, pay a few more bills. We'll come back and talk about some good stuff going on at New Canaan High School, some letters of intent. We'll continue with that right after this. Nutmeg Sports rolls on the HAN Network.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
Football University, the nation's leading football training experience, is now accepting applications for its 2015 camps. Our elite faculty of NFL coaches and top professionals teach position-specific on the field and in the classroom to improve your football IQ and help you reach your full potential as a player. Apply today at footballuniversity.org. Football University, where technique plus talent beats talent alone.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. 102,000 viewers have enjoyed the HAN Network in just the last 6 weeks. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Before we get to some letters of intent, a quick run through the Game Time CT Top 10 in football, beginning with Notre Dame of West Haven at number 10. They were not ranked last week, so a little bit of movement in the poll. Number 9 is Wethersfield, up from 10. up from 10. Number 8, Ansonia moves up from number 9. Glastonbury is 7. They are up from 8. We're seeing a pattern here. North Haven moves up, or actually stays put at number 6. Staying put at number 5 is Shelton. Windsor is the number 4 team. They have stayed put as well. This is very interesting. New Canaan down to 3 after beating Fairfield Ludlow 42-7. Darien beats Staples. They are up to number 2. Darien 3, New Canaan 2. You might have heard of those teams. Southington stays at number 1.
Well, the good news is we're going to get a chance to find out which of those teams deserves to be ranked higher.
I think we resolved the issue a week from Thursday at Boyle Stadium in Stamford as the two teams meet. And again, you can buy that broadcast, championships.han.network. We will have it for you. All kinds of special pregame stuff. We got a couple of pep rallies lined up Monday and Tuesday of next week, as well as that special roundtable, which will be kind of a couple of different roundtables, including our own reporters, the Dave Stewart, Steve Bunos, Tim Murphy, Rocco Veluzzo, the whole gang from here at the HAN Network. Then we'll also have a group of outside HAN reporters. So we're talking, as I mentioned before, Dave Rudin, Paul Silverfarb, Sean Patrick Boley, Pete Paguaga, and others as well. And John Kutzo from the FCAC should be on that show as well, leading us all into Thursday morning. All the coverage begins at 8 a.m. with a special edition of FCAC Championship Game Day, and then the pregame show with Chris Kalin and Dave Stewart at 10. Chris Irway and I have the call of the Turkey Bowl, the FCAC Championship, the 50th anniversary edition. I'm getting chills talking about it. 10:30 Thanksgiving morning at Boyle Stadium.
Wow, I don't even know what I can add to that. That's if I wasn't going to be there, I'd be watching.
And with that said, let's turn over to 8 New Canaan Rams signing their national letters of intent, Don. And congratulations to these athletes in question. We will start in girls swimming, where Katie Caldwell is going to go to Oakland University. That's in Rochester, Michigan. Libby O'Hara is going to go to Bucknell. And Megan Egan going to Boston University as well. Girls swimmers, and in fact, we talked to a few of them at New Canaan High School not all that long ago. On the boys lacrosse side, it's Kyle Smith, David Strupp, and Clayton Burt. Kyle Smith will go to the University of Denver, David Strupp to Harvard, and Clayton Burt to Syracuse. Good schools all around. You got girls
all
lacrosse
around,
for me?
yeah. Denver and Harvard. It's not generally known, but the Ivies do very well in lacrosse. And Syracuse, of course, the legendary school. Jim Brown went there.
Absolutely.
Jim Brown, the greatest lacrosse. That's always the trick question. Greatest lacrosse player in Syracuse history? Jim Brown.
Might be the greatest lacrosse player in college history. It might be a good argument.
Would be. Yeah, girls lacrosse, we have Sammy Stewart going to join the cadets of Army over at up in West Point there. Catherine Granito has signed to play lacrosse at the University of Michigan. And so, yeah, congratulations all around. Also, from out of Monroe, a little bit closer to my neck of the woods, my coverage area, Massac High School is announcing that 3 student athletes have signed national letters of intent to play in college, college baseball. They are Joseph Poricelli, who will play at Merrimack College next year. John Orozewski will play at Stonehill, and Cameron Kovacic signing his letter of intent to become a Blue Devil down in Durham, North Carolina, Duke University for Cameron Kovacic. So congratulations all around.
All right, congratulations to all of them indeed. And if you have any announcements like that, and really, we love to hear about all that stuff, and alumni, and there are a lot of things that we don't always get to that you certainly can make it interactive with us by sending us along a note or tweeting to us. A lot of athletes were,
Right. We've been looking. I think I try to make a point every week to check the Fordham box score, see how Austin Longy did.
Yeah.
Of course.
How is he doing?
He's doing okay. He's like the second, third leader. He's only a freshman.
That's right.
And he's he's on the small side. I mean, he was on the small side even for a Division 1A or 1AA.
Yeah, he is.
Receiver. But yeah, he's getting 4, 5, 6 catches a game. Also, we know Arkell Newsom out of Ansonia having a breakout season with UConn, totaling about 270 yards his last time out. So we always like to see the local kids making good on their colleges. The alumni news. It's it's interesting. It's people really care about that from all over the community.
It really is something that they care about. Tyler Matakevich is having a great season down at Temple. I mean, a stud player now, and he was a very good player at St. Joseph, but just having an absolutely amazing season there.
Certainly, and it's I've been for the last year or two. When you turn on ESPN and you watch a guy that you saw play in high school, it's just it doesn't get old. It really doesn't. You see them out there on the big stage. See them out there on the big stage. See them being interviewed on College Game Day, things like that. It's a lot of fun.
And so the point being, whether it's these athletes who we've just mentioned, whether they're just coming out of high school or already in college, or you're talking about the John Sullivans with the Minnesota Vikings and the Cam Atkinsons with the Columbus Blue Jackets, Kevin Shattenkirk at St. Louis. I mean, anywhere in between. We love hearing all about that and trying to get them on this show. So
you can let us know. Send us a message at Nutmeg Sports on Twitter if there's something we need to talk about, or if you want to chime in, give us your opinion. Tell us how wrong we are about something. That option always there at Nutmeg Sports on Twitter.
That is becoming Don's trademark for sure.
Well, it's just that
I like it.
Happens pretty often.
All All right, Don, we are out for today. Fingers crossed that this guy joins me for a half hour again tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, that was worth a try. So maybe he'll be with us tomorrow as we get ready to line things up and move into the rest of the week. And again, we'll keep an eye on the situation with Berlin. That Coggenshaw story still has a little juice to it as well, so we'll keep an eye on all that. And of course, as well. Thanks to Mario for keeping us rolling on the other side of the glass. See you tomorrow, and it starts your day with coffee break at 11 o'clock. For all of us here at the HAN Network, including Donald Eng, I'm Rob Adams. Enjoy your afternoon. See you tomorrow.